Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha. Tonight's going to be a little bit different, because it is only yours truly. Slim Lewis, what's up, man? How's it going? Checking in from Memphis, Tennessee. Fucking hell, man. Music capital of the fucking world. But so it is just me. The fam and I went out for a walk to the park. We got back a little bit late. Dyra is on the couch watching Jaws and feeding the baby. Mystic, unfortunately, has no voice this evening. So, yeah, it is just me. So I hope y'all are doing great. Y'all are having a wonderful Saturday evening. We are still going to do a weekly read. I'm going to do it for you. Right? So do I. It's weird doing Apocrypha without people to bounce off of, but, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully there isn't any issues with the video. Let me get my camera app open here because it looks really dark and it's not supposed to be this dark, especially at like an ISO of 1600. Like, I don't understand why the ISO. So, okay, for some reason didn't open up the settings. Let me close that. You're going to lose video. Boom, there it goes. So give it a second. Video come back here in a second. I've been running around like a chicken with his head cut off, guys, so trying to get this stuff put together. So there it is. There's the video. Now I got to go into sources and switch it to the other camera source. I don't know why it makes me do this. There we go. There we go. Now you can see me once again. And I need to adjust some of the settings here because it is really dark. All right, aperture... 3 point, there we go. That's what did it. That's good. Okay, 3.5 on the aperture. And boom, it opens up. Now you can see me and see everything better. Very good. So, we are still going to do a weekly read, like I said. So the deck we're going to be using is one. So I'm actually starting to do daily reads. Not daily reads, but like for the day that I do the show on Satan and Coffee, I'm doing kind of like a daily read, energy read for Satan and Coffee using my Oracle decks. I got another amazing Oracle deck on the way. Should be here next week. And hail, Mr. Grimm. That's all good. That's all good. Artwork is fucking amazing, and I am also going to be purchasing a tarot deck pretty soon. This thing is like ridiculously amazing. Like, I mean, I can't describe how awesome this thing looks. So I'm very particular about tarot decks, right? So for some reason, I have I've been saying, I have a problem with the minor arcana, right? For some reason, just a simple card with like 5 sticks on it just doesn't do it for me, and so like it's a running joke at this point, but like I'm constantly like every time I see this, I don't know, dude, like pull the stick out of your ass, I guess. I mean, possibly, you know, or pull a stick out of each orifice. So it's a bit of a pain, but so I went to Amazon and I ordered this Oracle deck that is amazing. We'll get into the tarot deck here in a second. So I ordered this Oracle deck, and I just want to see what it's called because I can't remember the name of it. It is the Midnight Oracle. Okay, the artwork is just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. I really want to show this to you guys. Like, I just fucking love the way that this looks. Let me go to sources here. Browser, display capture, game capture, window capture. There it is. All right, this we're going to do browser, like Bowser, browser, and we are going to go to Vivaldi. Whoa, that's big. So yeah, this is the, you make this smaller. So this is the deck right here, right? So this is just, these cards just look fucking amazing. So this is on its way, right? And I am so looking forward to using these. The artwork on those are fucking amazing. That's the Midnight Oracle right here. Just phenomenal artwork. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm just obsessed. Like, these are just beautiful. Like, so this is on the way. I can't wait to start working with this. But the tarot deck I found, that I'm like, okay, as somebody who does interpretive readings and I have a hard time with the simple cards, this did it for me. Like, there you have the Five of Wands right there, right? I don't see a single stick in that card, but the artwork is just chef's kiss, right? And then, like, looking at each of these, right? So here we have some of the major arcana. And here it also has these two extra cards, Apotheosis and Incarnation. So it's 80 cards total, right? And here we have some of the minor arcana in here. We got the Four of Cups, Three of Cups, Knight of Wands, stuff like that. And I'm looking at the artwork and I'm just like, this is it. This is my tarot deck, right? So there's Two of Wands right there. So this, I will be purchasing this tarot deck. This will be the tarot deck that I use. You know, I'm impressed because, like most other tarot decks, it's just very sad. You have a fascination with eyeballs. Right. So it's so that I will be ordering that shortly. I'm hoping I'll order it before the new year. It's just because to order the whole thing is gonna be about $70. Right. So the deck itself is $49 and it's about $21 shipping. So it's a little over $70 to get it shipped. So also another thing that I'll show you guys, just because I have the opportunity to do so. I ordered something for my altar. Because I'm like, all right, like I want something, because I'm working a little bit more with the death curtain and stuff like that. And I found this thing. I fucking love this. Look at how fucking cool that is. Look at that fucking thing. This is on its way too. This thing is insane. Right? Yeah, I got this on the way. Like, I am just obsessed with this fucking thing. So, yeah, so that's on its way as well. But yeah, I'm excited to have that on the altar. The deck we're going to be using today for the read is a new one as well. I've had this one for a couple of weeks now. It is an Oracle deck. It is literally called Shadow Work. Okay. So this is the deck that we're going to be using. It is, like I said, it's an Oracle deck. But to give you guys an idea of some of the artwork on here, right? Because it's not Apocrypha without a weekly read, right? It's just not Apocrypha. Now, it's definitely, it's mystic shtick, and he does amazing with it. But just to show some of the, cards and the artwork. So you got stuff like this, right? So that's one of them. I just love the artwork on this. Right. And another thing I love about this deck, it doesn't come with a book. Like, what's written on it, that's what you get. Use it, like, take it or leave it. You know what I mean? So Amazon for all your Buddha needs. I mean, there's definitely things. Look, so you can get a lot of things here in Mexico, and a lot of the things on my altar are from here. Our altar for Santa Muerte, every statue we have for Santa Muerte, we bought here, and I think we've got 5 statues of Santa Muerte. We've got like a giant 3-foot statue of Santa Muerte on that altar. Also, like I have like even like the rosary kind of thing. Hold on a second. So I have mine hanging up here, but so we got like, you know, like the multiple colors and stuff like that, like the little skulls on it like that. You know, so this is like a Santa Muerte rosary right there, little Santa Muerte right on that end. So, you know, I mean, this is locally made here in Mexico. You got a little owl at her feet down there. So very cool. I'll actually wear this out sometimes. I actually throw it on and I'll wear it out and about. So, you know, good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna do kind of like an weekly energy focused kind of read here, focused on our shadow, stuff that we might need to integrate throughout the week, what we're going to be facing throughout the week. Just kind of getting in the headspace for it here. So also let me know, like if you guys want to see me do like an unboxing of shit, like when I buy stuff like ritual stuff or occult stuff or decks and stuff like that, if you guys want me to do kind of like a walkthrough of the cards or like an unboxing of stuff, like if you guys want to see something like that, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do it. I've never done it because it just feels so different from what I normally do. Right? There you go. Rock on. Okay. Right, here we go. Let's get this going. So we're gonna do a 6-card read. I feel like with this deck, doing just 3 cards is not enough. So I do 3 cards that kind of sets the tone of what kind of needs to be worked on, and then it's kind of like how, almost to a certain degree. So the first one we're going to be working with here is wholeness includes cracks, right? Imperfection, tenderness, humanity, right? To be whole, it includes the imperfections, right? We need to stop focusing on perfection. We need to stop focusing on trying to be perfect. We need to stop focusing on trying to be everything to everyone, right? It's a pain in the ass when you try to fit into everyone's paradigm or little box that they have for you, and you eventually at some point kind of end up sacrificing yourself when you try to, you know, force yourself into those boxes and little pieces of you over here, over there, and stuff like that. I think this is definitely going to be a week to kind of focus on yourself, who you are, and allowing yourself to be completely you and unapologetically so. Next card. If it'll focus, there it goes. Fear of intimacy, vulnerability, exposure, fear of connection. And this falls right into wholeness includes the cracks. It's like if you are trying to hide what you find to be broken of yourself, you're going to be afraid to kind of open up those parts, you know, when you're not happy with who you are as a whole. 2026 will be different. Next 2 weeks are busy. Well, see, I don't prescribe to that. I don't prescribe to new year, new me. Like it's going to be a new me whenever the fuck I say it's going to be a new me. And if I feel like there's something that needs to be changed, I change it today. Because if I realize that I need to change something, then there's no point in waiting because I might be dead before the new year. So, you know, because like I said, like we talked about last Satan and Coffee, you are going to die. So, you know, not going to wait for the new year to make something, you know, different. But so what we're looking at here is, you know, there's almost like a vibe kind of rolling through this. Like, because if you look, like the cracks go up through the person, right? And then if you look, we kind of see that same kind of ethereal cracking behind the person. And trying to be perfect or trying to fit into some illusionary ideal of, you know, sounds like your video on wearing a mask. Possibly. I mean, I do repeat a lot of the same tropes because, like, these are things I actually believe in, right? So we have a fear of connection when we believe that we're not whole or we're not complete or we're not happy with who we are, right? We become afraid of being, connected with other people because we're afraid of what they'll see, right? We're afraid of, what, we will see or what other people will see in us. They'll see the things that we don't want them to see. The next card. Your shadow holds power, integration, depth, alchemy. Again, these play in. So we're talking about allowing ourselves to be whole, accepting ourselves for who we are, cracks and broken pieces all together, and understanding that the integration of the things that we're afraid to show is an integral part of accepting our power and our deification of self. That alchemy, that internal alchemy of understanding when change needs to happen, accepting the things that we can't, and living our lives as whole. So I think I'll throw one more card into this because I feel like that's pretty complete read. And here we go. This one closes it out nicely. Repeating cycles, unconscious loops, familiar pain, pattern addiction. So this 4-card read pulls it all together really well. Don't be afraid of your imperfection. Don't be afraid of the things that you're afraid that other people might think are broken in you, because that's part of you. That's part of who you are. Your shadow holds power. Those parts that you hide, those cracks that you hide in the shadow, that's where your power lies, in the integration and the alchemical change of those pieces into yourself. This creates fear around being intimate and close to people. This may not be necessarily or inherently like romantic intimacy. I know when we think of intimacy, we think of romance, but this could be as simple as trying to get a new job. This could be as simple as that, is applying for a new job. So you don't apply for the job because imposter syndrome. You feel like, oh no, I can't do that job. I don't know how to do that. I can learn how to do that. So you have fear because of a level of imperfection or a perceived imperfection that you have in yourself. And you stop yourself from moving forward. And it falls you into repeating cycles, repeating the same patterns over and over and over again because of the failed integration. So from the looks of it, this week is we want to focus on accepting ourselves for who we are, opening ourselves up and being proud of who we are and the cracks that we have in ourselves, and the beginning of breaking repeated cycles. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at for the next week. Yeah. So, yeah, good times, good times. Same, Mystic. I mean, me doing the read is just weird. It's just weird, me doing the weekly read. Just weird. It's just weird. So I do hope you guys found that helpful. And let's move into the topic, shall we? So this is a different one. So I wanted to go kind of like a different direction with like the topic, instead of like focusing on 100% like, mystical nuance and stuff like that. Like, what I want to talk about is infernal entrepreneurship, or basically the left-hand path philosophy being applied to business, the arts, like all of that type of stuff, and how it effectively works as a business strategy, right? For those that are afraid to, build a business, make a business, take that step forward and lean on yourself, right? So entrepreneurship is not neutral, right? It's not just money, it's will made visible, right? It's you taking your will and manifesting something, right? The left-hand path has always been about sovereignty, and business is one of the few modern arenas where sovereignty still exists. If you're willing to pay the price, right, you can grow. And when I say price, we're not talking about money price, right? But if you're willing to pay the price, right, you can use the philosophy, the left-hand path philosophy, and just obtain amazing things, okay? Building without permission, creating without masters, and owning the consequences, right? So, first, the key concepts, right? Entrepreneurship is already a cult. Business is applied will. Value creation as modern ritual. So, first and foremost, business is applied will. You apply your will, and you say, I want to do this. I want to create this thing. And so you move forward and you find a way to create it. It's one of the reasons why when I was young, I was so obsessed with the idea of working in graphic design or becoming a graphic designer, because one of the most important aspects of a business is its identity, right? The identity of a business. And one of the most expensive things to do is to make a logo, build a website, at least at the time. And I mean, it still kind of is to a certain degree, especially if you want something that's professional looking. All of these things, even the stationery, like, if you're a service-based business, you're usually making reports for your clients and stuff like that. And so I knew that I would be able to build what I want to build if I understood how to create the identity behind it, right? The concepts. Okay. And that's why I kind of focused on it, because it's the first step of, like, when you have an idea and you create it and you make it and you put it in front of you, and even if it's just sitting on the screen, it's like, okay, that just manifested. I just created that, right? So it is your applied will. It is your will to create something that manifests in front of you. So business is applied will. Now, value creation as modern ritual. It's a ritual. Like, when you sit down and you think about your business and you think about the structure, how it works, what you're doing, what you're not doing, stuff like that, you do the same thing in ritual. It's the same thing. And, money is like stored attention and agreement, right? So ritual and business both require intention, energy investment, risk, and delayed gratification. All of those things apply to both ritual, magic, and business. Intention, energy investment, risk, and delayed gratification. The myth that spirituality and profit are opposites is just that. It's a myth, right? Your spirituality can directly apply to your business. Maybe not in an overt way, like maybe that's not your business model, but what you learn in the left-hand path, what you pick up on as far as the ideals and the philosophy, can be applied to business. It's very similar to the art of war, right? And refusing to engage economically does not make you pure. It makes you dependent. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just also another thing, right? So refusing to kind of engage in economics or money or business or anything like that, it doesn't make you pure. Like, there's a lot of people that think that, like, for some reason avoiding business makes them, pure of heart or something like that, because money is the root of all evil. And it's just kind of like, shut the fuck up. Like, really? Like, no. Okay, we're not playing that stupid shit. Because that's exactly what that is. It's just really dumb, right? So if your survival depends on someone else's permission, you are not free. You are just spiritually decorated. Like, I mean, that's just honest, right? So what does successful entrepreneurship usually lead to? Financial security or financial freedom. It's a form of freedom. So a lot of people like to talk about freedom in an overall generalized sense, thinking that like, you know, oh, you had a beer. You're not free. You're dependent on that substance. No, I just like fucking beer. Shut up. Okay. Oh, you smoked a cigarette. You're not free. You're dependent on that cigarette. No, I'm not. I just like, I like my nicotine. I like how it makes me feel, right? I'm not depressed because of my vape. Okay. Freedom should not be reduced to a generalized statement or idea. There are different types of freedom, right? I like my cannabis oil, right? There you go. I'm sure every Canadian stoner completely agrees with you. Just joking. I like cheese. There you go, right? All right, Urkel. And Tyra says she likes Takis. Cheese is God, right? And if any of you understood the Urkel reference, you have my respect. You have my respect. If you understood the Urkel reference, if you're that fucking old and you understood that reference, and I'm not alone in being the only one that understood it, because if I have to explain it, it's not funny. Yeah, that's a thing. So probably most of you just go, Urkel, what the fuck is that? What's an Urkel? Well, you know, one day you'll figure it out. Maybe you won't. I got it. The Winslows always had the best cheese in the neighborhood. You got any cheese? Good. I'm glad you got it. I grew up watching that show. So yeah. When it comes to all of this stuff, like the left-hand path is about your own sovereignty. It's about your agency. It's about your self-deification. That presents in different ways. You can look at it spiritually. You can look at it physically. You can look at it economically. All of those things play a role, right? Point of the matter is, entrepreneurship, having your own business. And here's the thing. Entrepreneurship, I know entrepreneurship has become a buzzword these days. Like everybody wants to be a fucking entrepreneur, but nobody wants to do the work. These stupid idiots that are posting these things on Instagram and shit is like, yes, use AI. I make $10,000 a month on videos on YouTube, and I never show my face. Shut the fuck up. You're an idiot. Like that's no, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay. They want you to pay them money to show you how to do something that's not going to work. That's what they want to do, right? Because here's the thing. My channel, this channel, has a perceived value, right? My businesses have a perceived value, much like Facebook had a perceived value. If you think about it, before Facebook started implementing ads and doing all the things that they're doing now, Facebook was, I think, valued at about $8 billion, but Mark Zuckerberg never made a dime off of the website until like maybe the last 10 years. So perceived value is an actual value. That's an important thing to understand, right? So exactly, that's the business model, right? Yeah, that's the business model on that one. Like pay us money to show you how to do something that's not going to work, right? And they try to make it sound like it's super cheap. They're like, yeah, it's a $3,000 value. Just pay us $10. It's like, that's when you know they're full of shit, right? That's when you know they're full of shit. When somebody's sitting there saying like, yeah, it's worth $3,000, but just pay us $10. It's like, it's probably worth what, $1.50 then in actuality, right? Because at the end of the day, if you convince 10,000 people to spend $10 on your bullshit course that's going to do nothing for them, you just made $100,000, right? Okay, so Mr. Grimm, after watching that movie, I feel like I should be the last person you're spending time with. I feel like if you watch that movie with your wife, there should be something like a natural progression that happens after watching that movie. I mean, just that. Those are just my thoughts. Uh, just saying, man. So it's just my thoughts. That's it. Um, so what we live in now is what I would call like guru culture, right? We live in like guru. Everybody wants to be a fucking guru, right? Even if they don't use that term, everybody wants to be a guru. Everybody wants to be a point of authority for shit. And that's not what it's about, right? Just making dinner and the little ones are awake. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't think dinner is the problem. I think the little ones are. Because you can incorporate dinner into that, right? Like, I mean, dinner can. I think I'm going a little too deep into this. I'm going to back off now. No, I don't really want to be a guru. I'm good. Yeah. Well, I mean, most people that are running a business, that's dessert. Gotcha. So most people that run any type of business or, do podcasts or whatever, like, have this idea of trying to create themselves or position themselves as a point of authority. And there is an aspect to that in business, which is absolutely necessary. To have a successful business, to run and own a successful business, you as the head of the business do have to position yourself as an authority to some degree. Well, I mean, I just clarified, right? I think most people running businesses, right? And when I say everyone, so here's the thing. It's hyperbolic, guys. I mean, this is the thing that I'm talking about, right? With this stuff, right? It's like, do I really have to explain myself when I say everyone? Like, if you're not in the group, then obviously, yes, I know I'm not literally talking about everyone, right? Like, come on, guys. And not even content creators. Not all content creators want to be gurus. I mean, most content creators, I think, probably do, especially ones that create kind of like occult content and stuff like that. Because, like, when it comes to occultism, people have to position themselves in some weird way, It's all good. It's all good. I think some people take things literally. Yeah. I mean, they do. Look. I mean, I have the same problem with Dyra. She has a certain level of autism, and so like she has a hard time with sarcasm. So like I can be sarcastic as fuck, and she just kind of looks at me. And she's like, I don't get it, and like I kind of have to explain it. So I understand. There are people that. And especially in the occult space, but most people that like are starting some type of business want to have some level of authority, and inside of that authority, sometimes they run too far with it. So authority externalized versus authority embodied. This is what we're looking at, right? So authority externalized is when you take kind of like the concept of authority over something, but you externalize it to something else. And then authority embodied is like when you do embody the idea of authority. Those are like the real gurus, right? The ones that embody authority over something. Okay. So if we look at like coaches, mentors, and spiritual middlemen, right? Which is me. Like I have a life coaching platform. I do the podcasts, I do self-help stuff. I mean, even though it's help stuff, I hate the term self-help because I fully believe in George Carlin when he said like self-help books are the most like the stupidest fucking things to ever exist, because if you're able to do it yourself, you didn't need help. You did it by yourself, right? If you need help, you ask somebody else. Self-help? You don't need help. You did it yourself, right? So the whole self-help thing kind of irritates me, but the gurus want to be seen as influencers, and they are all each other's worst enemies. 100%, Maeve, 100%. Right? And the follow me trope is always a red flag, right? So the difference between learning and submission here, right? So when you go into entrepreneurship, it's a learning experience. You're going to fail. You're going to learn from those failures. And then if you keep trying, eventually you will succeed. You might have to pivot, you might have to change, you might have to move certain things around, but eventually you will succeed. That is the learning experience. Submission is, I have a job, I get paid every week for my job, and that's it. You are working for someone else's dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? If you're comfortable in your job and your job fulfills you, there's nothing wrong with that at all. People talk about it like it's dirty, right? Like it's dirty to have a job, right? You should be running your own business. Here's the thing. I have multiple businesses. Am I living off of them? Fuck no. I still have a 9 to 5, right? Or at this point, it's 8 to 6, but no, it's 9 to 6. Fucking hell. You know, so how are you? I'm good. How are you? How's it going, man? Or person. So left-hand path has always like rejected savior figures, right? We've always kind of rejected and kind of pushed stuff out and be like, okay, like, you know, we're not, you know, we're not going to accept this. We're not going to do this, right? We're not going to whatever the fuck, right? And what we're looking at when we look at this stuff, right, is the same thing. When we reject the idea of a business saving us and paying us money every month and, you know, all of this stuff, right? We want to rely on ourselves, right? So give me a second, 'cause I have all of this written down. Here we go. So the saviors remove accountability, right? So what saviors promise, right? They promise rescue instead of work, revelation instead of effort, identity instead of skills, right? So the left-hand path does not offer salvation. It offers consequences, right? So you succeed because you adapt. You fail because you didn't. No mythology required, right? And this is why the left-hand path practitioners scare systems built on dependency. You can't control someone who accepts consequence. Okay? Break down the damn door. I think I get what you're saying. So again, the learning submission thing, just to give a little bit more detail here. So learning, you increase your capacity, you expand your decision making. It makes you less reliant over time, right? Submission shrinks your agency, creates permission-seeking behavior, and turns mistakes into shame instead of data, right? So most people say they want guidance. What they really want is relief from responsibility. I think the problem is people, when it comes to the left-hand path. So here's the thing. So when I say left-hand path tonight, right? A lot of people are thinking I'm talking about working with demons or the devil or Satan worship or this and that. I'm talking about a philosophy, right? You know, I'm talking about an idea of how to live your life. I'm not, there's in this conversation, there's actual very little spirituality involved in this conversation. And I think the backlash, and you're 100% right, Slim, you're 100% right. But I think the problem is because of the misinformation that exists, mostly perpetuated by Christians, about the left-hand path, you know, being some type of, you know, satanic philosophy. And you know, a lot of us have kind of come across it the first time with the Satanic Bible. But if you look at the Satanic Bible as just a book of philosophy instead of like a spiritual text, because it's really not, these ideas kind of start to open up and widen across different pathways, right? It's kind of how it works, right? And you know, the backlash, do not be contrarian for the sake of being edgy, develop your own moral code and live by it. I mean, it's so LHP is nonconformist. Go your own way. Don't be dependent on Sky Daddy. Exactly. So here's the thing. So most people think of me as being a walking contradiction, right? Because I openly say I'm conservative. And I openly say that I'm a left-hand path practitioner, a cult practitioner, and I work with demons, and I work with this, and I work with that, whatever. But when people look at the philosophies, they look at conservatism, and they look at left-hand path, they don't see how they meld together. And I think they meld together quite well. Because when I say conservative, most people immediately jump on politics. Right? They're like, oh, you think this or you think that or whatever. And I want to try my best to separate the term conservative from Republican, because I don't believe that they're the same. I would say all Republicans are conservative, but not all conservatives are Republican, if that makes any sense. Right? It's to say that, right, all Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan. Right? It's the same kind of concept. So I want to try to separate this ideal that when you say conservative, it becomes like this shock value thing to people in the occult community, and they immediately attribute it to being a Republican. Because I'm not a Republican, nor am I a Democrat. But I am conservative. And then people ask in what way, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, that's none of your business, is it? I mean, I've talked about it in multiple different episodes, but it's really none of your business. Like my personal values and things, you know, outside of like the basic shit that I talk about, which is I believe in the nuclear family. You know, I believe, you know, in freedom of speech. I believe in the, you know, the right to bear arms. I believe, you know, in all of these things, right? You know, or not all, you know, so there's more to it. There's more nuance and there's more detail to it. And I went down a whole rabbit hole on Threads maybe about a year ago, kind of talking about it, you know. I don't know what I am. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. And so the thing is like, but people have this weird obsession with the term conservative. You say conservative, oh, you're a Republican, you think this and you think that, and you hate gay people and you hate, and it's like, whoa. Like, no, definitely not. But I do align with those traditional values, right? Those hard work, right? Merit, right? Like grit, you know, pulling yourself through a difficult situation, taking care of your family, being there for your family. You know, the traditional idea of masculinity, not this perverted concept of calling masculinity toxic all the goddamn time because there's assholes out there, you know? You know, so it's just like join a political party for the rest of my life. Yeah, same here. Like I have no interest in politics. Like I really don't, you know? So it's just like, to me, it's just, there's nothing wrong with those things. Wanting a traditional family, you know, wanting to be the one that provides, as a man anyway, wanting to be the one that provides, wanting to be the one that protects. Like it's a partnership, yes. And there are different roles that I play and then my wife plays, and we happily accept those roles. But to be turned around and told that, like, oh, you are a bad person because you believe in these traditional values, it's like, I'm not stopping anyone from doing anything. You know, I'm not telling you you need to believe the way that I do. I don't give a fuck what you believe. I don't care. You asked me about my shit, so I'll tell you about my shit. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna tell you what you need to do. That's your shit. That's your life. You live your life however the fuck you see fit, man. I don't care. But don't tell me I'm bad for wanting to live my life to its fullest potential, how I see it to be. That's it. There's nothing wrong with the traditional idea of masculinity. There really isn't. And it's just been so perverted and knocked down, and it's just it's horrible. It really is. Like how people, are attacked all the time and stuff like that, because of these ideas and stuff. But I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole too much. But so yes, I am a conservative, theistic Luciferian of the left-hand path. Luciferian, I guess, is kind of like the best way to kind of put it, It's a good rabbit hole. Well, the thing is, I don't think people talk about it enough. That's the thing, right? Because the moment you mention, like, oh, conservative values, it's like, oh no, you can't be left-hand path. You can't be a Satanist. You can't be a Luciferian. You can't be this. You can't be that because you have this. And it's like, what? And I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. It really doesn't. And so when we talk about contrarian, like, most people think I'm like a walking contradiction because of this, right? But they don't actually listen to it. And I've done episodes on this shit. Like, I've done full episodes talking about this. Right? Exactly. Thank you, Teresa. I've done full episodes on this, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. But don't ever call me a Republican, because I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am politically homeless, and I'm perfectly fine living in the political box that has nothing attached to it. Okay? My values are the values that I believe most align with the left-hand path. And I believe that conservative values align the most with the left-hand path, which is why I believe the left-hand path aligns so well with business. Right? You're 100% correct, Slim. You are 100% correct. Like, fucking home base correct, man. I don't know why every time I look at your picture, dude, I know you're holding a guitar, but like, you look like a baseball player. That's cute. Okay, so here's the thing. I used to think that Candace Owens like had some pretty good points back in the day, right? She has fucking gone off her goddamn rocker, man. Like, she is, oh my God. Like back in the day, like way back in the day. Like, and the thing is like, I just found out like a bunch of shit about her, like maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, right? And like, she's a complete fucking fraud, like, as far as I'm concerned. Which is sad because, like I said, there were points that she made. There's like, oh yeah, that's a good point. But like, she made those points not because she actually believes in them, but because she wanted to have some type of relevancy. So she kind of went down the right-wing rabbit hole and found kind of some monicum of success in that, and then ran with it. And it was just like, I'm like, that's just fucking sad, man. That's so fucking sad. Like, I've stopped watching political commentators for the most part. I really have, because they're all fucking crazy, right? She was fake for a long time. She's a grifter. Mm-hmm. Sad is that the number one podcast. Well, here's the thing. So I still at times like, so a lot of the people that I used to watch in the conservative space, hey, rock on. Hey, it's all good. There's no problem with that. So it's why the whatever podcast is so fucking popular, right? It's just fucking 4 hours of drama. So, it's a lot of the conservative talking heads that I used to listen to, right? I've lost a lot of respect for. So I used to listen to a lot of, what is his name? He does the mug club thing. What the fuck is his name? He's Canadian. Maeve, help me out. What's his name? God damn it. Steven Crowder, right? Steven Crowder. I used to listen to a lot of Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder used to, like he used to, I used to really enjoy his shit. Like when I first saw, that, when he did, like, there's this comedy thing that he was doing, and he had what's his face, Milo Yiannopoulos on the stage with him, and he ripped into somebody that was like, what was he doing? He was like heckling him, right? The Change My Mind stuff. It's great stuff. And then, the videos came out, the home videos came out of how he treats his wife, and I also began to notice that, like, within his political commentary, he, started, reaching, like, really, he was going like, It Changed My Mind was good, but, he started reaching out, like, and connecting shit that didn't make any fucking sense. Like he was going full fucking, God, I can't remember names tonight. He was going full fucking the frogs are gay, right? Was what he was doing, right? Like, after the 2016 election, and when watching how he treated his wife, I was like, look, me as a conservative, one of my conservative values, my job, right, is to protect my woman, is to protect my wife, is to protect my family. And yes, I say my woman because she's my woman, because she allows me to say she is my woman, right? Because I'm hers. It's an exchange. And as a conservative, my job is to protect her, not create a situation that is unsafe for her. And to see someone, that supposedly shares these values, creating an unsafe space for supposedly the woman that he loves, that the mother of his children. I'm sorry, like, I have no respect for that. I have no respect for that, because now you're full of shit. You're a fucking hypocrite, because you say one thing and you're doing something else. So, I just, no, I just, like, so I stopped watching him. Right. Same, man. Same. Like, I can't say I've been through many. I haven't, but, Dyra is, there are not words that exist in any language that I am humanly aware of that express the gratitude, gratefulness, admiration, and love that I hold for that woman. It just doesn't exist a way to describe that. So, yeah. I would like to think so. No, and the thing is like, it's also respect, man. It's like, you respect that energy, right? Because I make no mistake about it, man. That woman, Dyra, like, she holds the house together. Like, she doesn't think she does, but she does. She holds it together. Like, she is the She's the glue that holds like the entire thing together. And yeah, like I play my role, I play my part, and I do what I have to do as a man to make sure that our house keeps moving forward. There's nothing wrong with those roles, man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, like if you think the opposite as well. Like if if you're someone that is, you have like that independent streak and that's how you want to live your life, there's nothing wrong with that either. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about knowing your boundaries, right? One of the conversations Dyer and I had at the very beginning of our relationship was those boundaries. What is acceptable to you and what is acceptable to me as far as like certain things. So for example, I'm almost 40 fucking years old, right? Like I don't like partying. I don't like going out all the time. And I don't want the woman that I'm with to be doing that either. Like I don't want my woman going out every single night, going out every single weekend, hanging out with her friends, going out to bars and shit like that. I don't want it. Now, if that's how you want to live your life, I have no problem with you wanting to live your life that way, just not with me. And that's not an ultimatum. That's just understanding my personal fucking boundaries and you understanding your boundaries. Is it fair to me to be with a woman that is going to live that way? And is it fair to you to be with a man that doesn't want a woman that lives that way? If you're asking for issues, you're asking for problems. So it's not an ultimatum. It's like, I respect myself enough and I respect you enough to say, you go live your life how you want to live your life just without me. And we had these conversations in the beginning. We had these conversations about boundaries and understanding these boundaries before anything got super serious. We talked about examples. And we took the time to learn, to understand, to accept and respect how we want to live our lives. To make sure that how we want to live our lives, we're compatible with each other. Respecting your own boundaries isn't toxic. It's actually quite the opposite. If you have a boundary and something that makes you uncomfortable or that you're not happy with or you can't accept, it is not toxic to express that boundary and say, okay, I don't like this. And if this is something that's going to continue, I think we need to go our own ways, like our separate ways. You will find someone that is completely compatible with you, and I will find someone that's completely compatible with me. This isn't it. There's nothing wrong. That's not toxicity. That is the complete fucking opposite of being toxic. The complete opposite. And yeah, that's what we did. We had those conversations very early on, and we accept it. We're good with it. And it should be only something that is concerning between her and I. It shouldn't be anyone else's concern. We leave our problems inside the relationship. We deal with our problems as they come up and as we deal with them, and your needs is healthy. Exactly. Everyone has boundaries. Everyone has limits and everyone has needs. Right. And we're very open with each other about like when we're feeling needy, when we're feeling clingy, when we're feeling this, when we're feeling the, hey, you know what? Like, I know it's going to be a little obnoxious today, but I'm feeling kind of clingy, and then, she'll let me know if it's me saying that. She'll let me know whether or not she can cater to it. That's another aspect of it, right? Because not all the time I can't expect her to, cater to that emotion when it's happening, or vice versa. And so having that open conversation, having that open ability to be able to talk about those things, we're able to kind of sit there and say, okay, well, I understand that, but I'm sorry, but today, I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that, and I don't know how emotionally available I'm going to be today, but I'll do my best. That's a healthy fucking relationship, guys. Behemoth, with certain things, I am the exact same way. Like when it comes to like my concerns about money or bills or stuff like that, I usually have a tendency of keeping it to myself. Um, and, you know, when it comes to like that type of stuff, it's like, that is also my way of kind of like, I mean, she's raising, you know, my youngest son. She's helping me raise my older son. And, you know, like, you know, she cleans and she does this and she does that. And she also makes money for the house. And so there's a lot of things that she does that I'm just like, I don't want to dump that on over there, you know, and we have, you know, our split and things like how we divide things and stuff like that. You know, we don't look at money as separate, right? It's one big pot, right? So it's like kind of like she makes money, I make money, we put it together. It's like, okay, what needs to be paid, right? If it needs to be paid, it needs to be paid, it gets paid. But, you know, there are certain things that, you know, I'll work with when it comes to money that I'm just like, okay, like I find a way to make it work, you know? I have multiple things that I can do to earn an income, right? And so I do what I can, you know? And I think, again, that's kind of part of that protective thing, you know? Exactly. No, neither do I. Like I think the thing is if you're going to share meals, you're going to share a bed, and you're going to share your life. For fuck's sake, you can share your bank account too. Like, you know, this whole idea of like, this is your shit, this is my shit, and like, you know, we meet in the middle somewhere. It's kind of like, you know, how does that work? Because here's the thing: we did the math on certain bills, right? Like before we moved in together and before we started living together and stuff like that, we did math on certain bills, and it came out that individually, right? Individually, you know, we couldn't really cover all of our bills individually by ourselves. But as soon as we joined our income together, guess what? We had money left over. So as soon as you like kind of really work in synchronicity, like everything kind of becomes, you know, more fluid, right? And I mean that it's a big thing. It's a big thing, like, you know, and I think every relationship's different. Like what's good for one person might not be good for another person. Just because this is good for me doesn't mean it's going to be good for all of you in the chat. It doesn't mean that this isn't how you need to live your life or the type of relationship that you need. Like if that's not what you're looking for, then that's not what you're looking for. Like I'm not telling you to use me as an example of how to live your life. It's my life. You know, it's Dyra's life. You know, we made the choice that this is how we want to live. You know, and what's irritating is I feel like a lot of people have this idea that just because you decide that you want to live your life a certain way, for some reason, when you talk about it, it means that you're telling other people that they need to live their life the same way. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like I really do believe in the live and let live thing. Like I really don't give a fuck like how you live your life. If you feel fulfilled, you feel fulfilled. Do your thing. You know, I'm proud of you. Most people struggle their entire lives trying to find some level of fulfillment. You know, it's like the polyamory thing. I personally find it like grotesque, you know, like I when I think about the possibility of me being in a polyamorous relationship, I can't stand it. It's disgusting to me. Does that mean I think that people that are polyamorous are disgusting? No. Doesn't mean I think that they're disgusting. It just, I don't like the lifestyle. Don't agree with it. Am I going to respect you for having it? Yeah. Just don't talk to me about your escapades. That's it. Right? I have no desire to know about your gangbangs. Like, I don't care. You know? No, dude, I'm a jealous motherfucker, man. There's just, I couldn't do it. Like I'm open about it. I know me. I get jealous, and it's not insecurity. It's you know, it's it's me trying to, you know, be protective. I have a major protective instinct. Like I'm just very protective, you know, of my kids, of my wife, my family as a whole. Like I'm just very protective, and you know, like I'm not going to condemn you for doing it. I just don't like it. And there's this idea for some reason in modern society that, you know, you saying that like, I don't agree with it, but I respect it isn't enough. Like you need to agree with it. Like you need me to validate your life choices. If you need me to agree with your life choices, to validate the way that you're living your life, maybe you should look at the way you're living your life, because I don't need external validation for how I live my life. I can have everybody in my community tell me that I am completely wrong for the way that I am living and the boundaries that we have and the decisions that Dyer and I have made. And I don't care because I'm happy in my life. I don't need your validation or anyone's validation for how I live my life. And you shouldn't need mine or anyone else's to validate how you live your life if how you live your life fulfills you. If it's fulfilling, then just do it. Who gives a fuck what other people think? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's how I think about it. You know, it's just this idea, this obsessive idea in society of like this incessant need, you know, to have everyone in the world validate how you live. And it's like, why? Why do you need people that don't give a shit about you to validate how you're living your fucking life? Why do you need that? Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, most people don't fucking care about you. They don't care if you do well. They don't care if you do bad. They don't care if you live, you die. Like, most people don't give a shit. If I died tomorrow, it'd be the same thing with fucking that happened with Anima. There'd be 3 days of videos that Adius is dead, and then that's it. That's it. The people closest to me, yeah, of course. They'll talk about it. They'll remember me. But most of the world, nobody gives a shit if I live or die. So why am I going to give a shit about what they think about me or how I live my life? I pay my bills. I buy my food. I feed my children. I feed my family. I put food on the table. I pay my rent. I do all of these. Why do I give a shit about what other people think? I don't. And nor should you. Like, and it's not apathy. It's just knowing that line. Like that's what the left, for me, that's what the left-hand path helped me do in my life. Is understand that all the shit, all the bullshit that I was concerned about in my younger years meant nothing. Didn't mean anything. It was empty fucking banter that just pulled me into a fucking whirlwind of shit. Because I kept trying to make everybody around me fucking happy with multiple versions of myself. And I've said this a million times. Most of you will never know how I actually live my life and like the details of my life. But I can tell you this right now. The version of me that you see on video and the version of me that exists off of this camera, it's the same version. It's the same me. Just one has more detail and one doesn't. That's it. And those are the only people that you should be concerned about. The only people, you know, I take it one step further. The only people I'm concerned about what, like how they think of me is my kids. Whether or not I'm a good father. The one thing that I'm most proud of in my life is being a father. I absolutely adore being a father, and I love being there for my kids. Like, you know, it's just, there's no better feeling, man. I definitely pick up on that, Behemoth, man. Like, I mean, I know you don't talk about your family a lot, but, you know, from the little bit here and there that you talk about, like, I mean, you and I there's definitely parallels. I mean, it's one of the reasons why your content, as far as occult content is concerned, is like, you're my go-to, man. Like, you know, because I know that it's not going to be full of bullshit. It's going to be straight. It's going to be clean cut. And, you know, it's going to get to the fucking point. You know, and yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. You know, don't be concerned. I mean, I know we're completely off topic, but that's perfectly fine. You know, also, Chad, if you're not following or subscribed to Behemoth X, I will tell you this right now. Like, I'm not bullshitting. I've watched a lot of people, and there's a lot of great content creators on the occult, on YouTube and other platforms. I'm hard pressed to think of anyone that I truly think makes better content for our community than Behemoth. And I mean that. So if you're not subscribed to Behemoth X, go to his channel, subscribe to his channel, and watch his videos. They're binge worthy. I will tell you this. And the fact that 90% of them play out like a fucking music video is just chef's fucking kiss. It's like, if you're a metalhead, all the better. So I don't have the fucking patience to do the editing that he does, which is why I do live content, because I just hit go live and then I just start talking. Right? I don't have the fucking patience to do what he does. Right? I mean, but it's great. Go check it out. But yeah, like I said, I know we're completely off topic, but I think this is a good topic to talk about. Honestly, it wasn't the direction that I was thinking about going with this. And I know that, like I said, when I talk about conservatism and stuff like that, a lot of people have a problem with it. But let me break this down to kind of explain why I think conservatism works well with the left-hand path. So the reason I think that conservatism, like traditional kind of conservatism, works well with the left-hand path is because in the left-hand path, we talk about sovereignty, agency, self-deification. And again, when we talk about self-deification, what are we talking about? Understanding, like, at least through like kind of like the concept of Jungian psychology, the control that we have over on our own lives and our ability to integrate parts of ourselves, you know, that maybe we've pushed aside before, to become fuller, better versions of ourselves by accepting things from our past. Not everything in the shadow is bad, right? It's just stuff that we've kind of put on the back burner. And so it is those philosophical concepts, when attached with, you know, a lifestyle concept like conservatism, that pushes you just that much harder. Like we talked about, the grit, the merit, you know, and all the like the little nuances of how you live your life. It complements the left-hand path perfectly, because who is responsible for your life? You. Right? In the idea of living like within conservative values, I teach my children to be accountable and responsible for their own actions. If you stay up late and you wake up late and you're late for school, whose responsibility is it to get up? It's not my responsibility to wake you up. It's your responsibility to go to bed at a decent time and get up in the morning for your classes. You have one major responsibility in your life: go to school. And if you're going to oversleep, if you're going to be too tired to pay attention in class because you're staying up all night, you're not only hurting the fact that you're getting up late or you're unable to get up in the morning, but you're also hurting the fact that you're not going to be able to pay attention throughout the day. You're not going to absorb the information the way that you need to absorb it, yada, yada, yada. The left-hand path is it's very much that. And conservatism is the same thing. It's your responsibility to yourself. And when you are able to accept the responsibility for yourself and your own actions and the consequences of those actions, and again, like I've said millions of times before, consequences aren't inherently negative. Every action has a consequence. Sometimes the consequence is beneficial to us. Sometimes it's contrary to what we want. When a consequence is contrary to what we want, what do we say? It's a bad consequence. We don't like it, right? It's bad. And when it's something we want, it was good. Right? There's no good choices or bad choices. There are learning experiences and consequences to those learning experiences. It is those consequences that is the learning experience. And when you accept accountability and responsibility radically to yourself, if I don't have enough money to pay my rent, that's not my job's fault. That's my fault. Somewhere down the line, that's my fault. I'm renting something that I shouldn't be renting. I'm spending my money places I shouldn't be spending my money. Somewhere down the line, there's something that I can change in that scenario that's causing this issue. It is radical accountability for everything that happens in your life and an understanding that you are the only one that controls it. Conservatism plays right into that. It is your merit and your ability that causes you to live a good life or a bad life. It's not the government's fault. It's not the immigrants' fault. It's not the fault of people that you've never fucking met. Right? It's yours. Make better choices. Be better. But that's the thing. Everyone wants change. No one wants to change. No one wants to accept where they've fucked up and change. And I'm sorry, I'm going to piss off a lot of people here, but if you are incapable of accepting responsibility for your own shit, you shouldn't be on the left-hand path. Learn how to be accountable to yourself and the things that you do and don't do. And then allow the left-hand path to enhance that and make your life even better. Because I feel like if you think the opposite of what I'm saying and you consider yourself on the left-hand path, you are constantly at odds with yourself. Because you're doing things that are contrary to the philosophy. Thank you, Trinity. And so when you're living your life contrary to the philosophy that you're trying to live, like, yeah, you're always going to be at odds with yourself. You're always going to be butting your own head. You're going to be banging your head against the fucking wall. It's just a fact of life. I'm sorry, it just is. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like that. But you need to have some level of personal accountability before you can sit there and say, yeah, I'm on the left-hand path. Because if you're blaming the government, if you're blaming the immigrants, if you're blaming your teachers, your parents, I've always said, yes, you can be a victim. It happens. You can be a victim. It is a choice to remain a victim. That is an active decision that you make. You either are a victim and you grow from that experience, or you decide to stay there. And again, it's contrary to the left-hand path. I saw a video the other day. It was maybe 2 years old. I'm not going to call it any names or anything, but I saw this video the other day, and there's about 5 witches in a panel talking about the left-hand path. And then they all kind of agreed that, the left-hand path doesn't have a definition. And then another one said that, oh, no, nor should it have a definition. I was like, it very much does have a definition. The left-hand path, the philosophy of the left-hand path is not open to interpretation. It isn't. And I'm sorry if that offends some people, if that makes some people feel left out. But it very much has a definition that cannot be changed or moved. It is not open to your interpretation of what it means or what it is. And there's a good reason for that. That takes time and work. If you've been victimized, depending on what it is, depending on how you handle things, each individual is different. But I'm a big proponent for therapy, and I think everybody should be in therapy. But I think one of the things that helped me, I'll give you guys an example. So my stepdad used to beat the shit out of me. This isn't news. I've talked about it a million times. But I can't tell you how many times I've had bones broken. I've got the shit kicked out of me. I ended up unconscious in a bloody pool on the floor. Just a lot of shit. And in that sense, I was a victim as a kid. And, most of my young adult life, I grew up hating the world, right? Um, because I wanted a rhyme or reason or something, like, I wanted some type of closure. And it wasn't until I learned, or understood rather, things can happen to you without your ability to control them. But after that finishes, after that's over, you need to do the work to regain control and understand that you have it once you're no longer in that situation. And that man, my stepfather, he died probably about 4 years ago now. And the last year of his life was the best time that I had with him. I forgave him, and I didn't tell him that I forgave him. The forgiveness was for me, it wasn't for him. But I forgave him for what happened, and he had changed. He had changed a lot. The years have softened him quite a bit. And everything that I needed to hear from him when I was a kid, I got in that last year. Like him telling me that, how proud of me he was and how much he loved me and, all of that. And yeah, I mean, there was the part of me that was like, I don't need this from you now. I needed it from you then. But that was my ego, right? That was my ego bleeding through. And I decided not to listen to my ego in the egotistical sense, not ego in the Jungian psychology sense. Those are different things. That's not to be confused. But so I didn't let my ego take over. I accepted his kind words and his praise and his affections. And we had amazing conversations, and he got sick. He had a stroke. And I watched this man that, like, I looked at like an unstoppable beast, dwindled to nothing. And I cried. I cried after every conversation that I had with him. Watching his speech go and, his ability to do things for himself start to deteriorate more and more with time. I cried. And he passed, and I'm thankful, I'm grateful for that year that I had with him. And I feel that part of the journey of healing, of overcoming being a victim, is being grateful for the fact that you have the opportunity to get over it. Recognizing that you have the ability to regain control. Recognizing that you have a choice that you can make to live in that anger and live in that hatred and allow it to become the definition of your identity, or understand who you are. Remember who you are. And know that you are not defined by the things that happen to you, but rather the things that you do afterwards. And I will always be thankful and grateful for that year, because I needed it. So for each individual person, how you let go of being a victim and move on, I'm sorry, but I can't give you a one-size-fits-all for that, because it doesn't exist. But again, those conservative values, the left-hand path philosophy, those things are the things that have helped me the most over the years in understanding my own power and my own ability to achieve the things that I want to achieve in my life. And knowing that it is my choices, my decisions that either help or hinder my progress in my life. And for many, maybe I'm talking like common sense for many, right? Maybe it's like a lot of people are listening to this right now going, well, of course, dude, like what the fuck? But maybe for a lot of people, it's hard to remember that power that you have. Forgiveness is largely from the self. Exactly, Trisap. It is. It is. To me, forgiving him had nothing to do with him and everything to do with me. It wasn't making excuses for him. It wasn't, justifying anything that he had done. And the reason I knew it was real forgiveness is because I felt no necessity to talk to him about it. Like that last year before he got sick, the few months before he got sick in that last year, like I felt no desire, necessity to talk to him about the past. Like I just wanted to enjoy the moment and what we were building, and what we were creating, as far as like a father-son relationship. And that forgiveness is what helped me let go of all of that. And I didn't need it to be acknowledged by him. And that was like that was also a very important step of understanding, like what we talked about earlier about, the idea of not needing the validation from external forces. I mean, this is somebody that I called dad. And I still didn't seek his approval or his validation. Didn't need it. Didn't need his approval or his validation about how I lived my life. Didn't really need anything from him. And it was that understanding in that moment of understanding, if I don't need anything from my father to make me feel like my life is of value, I now understand that the only person that provides value to my life is me. And it is of the utmost importance that we always stay steadfast in that idea as left-hand path practitioners, that we are the sole source of meaning and validation in our lives. And those that wish to be a part of that will make themselves known. And we'll have a better understanding of those that merely want to take advantage of us for whatever the reason may be. So, yeah. So we got completely fucking off topic. But with that being said, guys, I got to make dinner. We've been on this thing for about an hour and a half now. So I do have to end it here. Maybe we'll do a follow-up with the actual Infernal Entrepreneurship, but I think that this was a significantly better topic. When I was getting abused, I know my dad loved me. No, I didn't. I thought he hated me. I thought he was going to kill me. I moved out when I was 15 because I thought he was going to kill me. But I was a kid. So it's all timing, man. It's all timing. Anyway, can't get back into it. Gotta move on, and I gotta go make dinner. So I thank you all for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. You're the reason we do this. Next week, hopefully, Mystic will be back with us. He will have his voice back, hopefully. All right, you guys are fucking amazing. And as always, hail thy fucking self. I'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out, everybody.